But really, credibility is just one leg of the entire trust triangle. So you really want to think about trust in three dimensions. And it's important to work hard to have all three dimensions. So there's the logic part, which some of you might be thinking of it as credibility. So the person that trusts you knows that you can do it, trusts your judgment, trusts your reasoning, that it's sound. So that's usually where a lot of people, when I ask people to define trust, that's really where they go. But there's another component, and another component is authenticity, meaning that when a person trusts you, they believe that they actually know the real you. And that means that you've been authentic with them, that they've experienced the real you, they know about who you are. And then there's the third leg, which is that they believe, the person that trusts you, believe that you care about them and their success. And so what I want you to do now is I want you to think of one person that you know you don't have a trusting relationship with. They don't trust you, right? They don't trust you, or maybe you don't trust them. You can play this game however you'd like. I want you to think about what part of this triangle is the weakest. Maybe you have a bit of each of it, but what is the weakest? That's kind of what I want you to think about. But I want to continue to illustrate this example with specific examples of clients I worked with. So I'll go with the first one, which is authenticity. So I have a client who is really powerful. She comes to work always ready, always buttoned up. Everything is ready to go. That's the expectation she has of her team and of her peers. And she talks about business during business hours. Most of her team, her manager, her peers, and her clients don't really know much about who she is. I know about who she is because we have a trusting relationship where she shares with me her relationship with her kids and with her aspirations, but she doesn't really share that with her team at all. So very buttoned up. So that would be somebody who is weak on the authenticity angle because she's really not bringing her whole self. So if you think about it, she kind of has a work self, puts on a certain mask, and then has a different version of herself at home. But authenticity could be something different where people know what's going on with you or where you're quarantining or how many kids you have, but you're not willing to be authentic and saying, look, the deadline you're asking of me is not realistic. Like, I can't get to that. You just kind of tell people what they want to see, or you only share the good news and you don't share with them your challenges. That also might be where you're lacking in being authentic, and that can actually break down trust. So that's an example of lacking authenticity or not really having authenticity in a trusting relationship. Another client of mine runs kind of the New York City office of a company that caters to hotels, which obviously, as you can imagine, has been a really difficult year. And she's been just kind of making sure that everyone is still employed and everyone is satisfied and that they still have a business coming out of this. So she's really had to work very, very hard. And in doing that, she's been all about moving forward, being efficient with her time. And what's happened is she's deprioritized empathy. She's deprioritized making people feel like she's listening to them. Even if she was told like, hey, this is something that is, I need some extra time on this, or I'm already at 200% capacity. She didn't show her empathy for that. So there was a trust component that was broken down in that relationship. So that's an example of not fulfilling the empathy part of the triangle.